All right, boys. UFC Baku is this weekend. Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. That's going to be a banger fight. I'm super excited. I'm going to break down the main card, starting with Muhammad Naimov versus Bogdan Grad. I think this one's going to come down to output. You know, these guys are featherweights. They both do have a few KOs on their record, but in reality, Bogdan Grad's putting out about 2 times as much output as Muhammad Naimov. So I have a feeling that when this goes to decision, that's going to favor Bogdan Grad and he's going to take it home. Moving on to Nazim Sadykhov versus Nikolas Motta. You know, Nazim Sadykhov is a 4-1 favorite for a reason here, guys. I think that Nikolas Motta is really being fed to him, the Brazilian coming in with a much worse record, probably to help Sadykhov build a bit more of a streak. I don't know if there's much more to say. I think Sadykhov's going to take it by KO. He has a lot of KO finishes, and I'm saying second round KO TKO. Moving on to Tofiq Musayev versus Myktybek Orolbai. Fuck, these names are terrible. Tofiq Musayev comes in off of the Bellator scene. He has a pretty good run there. He's beaten some decent guys, but every time he had a championship fight there, he lost. Myktybek Orolbai, on the other hand, has had some good wins in the UFC. His last fight was a loss, but it was a split decision, very close fight of the night as well. And honestly, I'm just so sick of expecting these Bellator guys to actually perform when they get to the UFC. I mean, the UFC hasn't even given him a fucking picture over here, right? So I know that he has a nice record, but I'm going to pick Myktybek Orolbai to win by decision, I'm guessing, because I think that we all got baited into thinking that these Bellator guys were actually good after Michael Chandler came in and beat Dan Hooker, but since then it's like Musayev does have a good win over Patricky Pitbull, but again, it's just like, what does that mean? And what does it mean when you're beating these Bellator guys? Because all the Bellator guys that you beat are only beating other Bellator guys. So, whatever. Myktybek Orolbai by decision. Moving on, Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvan Kuniev. This is going to be a fun heavyweight fight, guys. I think this just comes down to the experience of Curtis Blaydes. You know, Rizvan Kuniev has had some decent wins. He beat Hanan Fahea, but that was actually overturned because of steroids. So this is his debut fight in the UFC. I don't know how tested he's been from a drug perspective, but, you know, at the end of the day, Curtis Blaydes has beaten a ton of really good quality guys, way better than anyone Rizvan Kuniev's ever faced. I see Kuniev really only having a puncher's chance here, and when Curtis Blaydes has beaten guys like Junior Dos Santos, Mark Hunt, it's like, you know, I don't know if the puncher's chance is really going to get there. I think that Curtis has also had some really important losses to guys like Francis, guys like Derek Lewis, guys like Tom Aspinall, where he's just learned how to play a safer fight, and I have a feeling that Blaydes is going to take this one by decision. Moving on to Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is a really interesting fight to me. I'm going to take Ignacio Bahamondes. I think he might even be able to get Fiziev out of there, but I think if I was betting on a finish, I'd probably bet that this is going to win by decision. He's a lot taller. I mean, he's 6'3" for a lightweight, which is just insane, right? And, you know, he hasn't fought anyone at Fiziev's level technically, but Fiziev's also on a 3-fight losing streak. I know 2 of those were to Gaethje, but he was thinking about going down to featherweight. Maybe that is meaning that he's going to be a bit lighter now, but Ignacio Bahamondes has just got really, really slick striking. He knows how to stay at range. I think he's going to piece Fiziev up. And I have a weird suspicion that he's going to, like, put a lot of damage on Fiziev and maybe get him out there in the 3rd round. Again, if I had to put the money on it, I'd probably say decision. So I'm going to go Ignacio Bahamondes by decision, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just takes Fiziev out by the 3rd round. Moving on to the main event, Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree. For fans of black-on-black violence, we have had awesome cards lately. Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley, followed by Jamahal Hill versus Khalil Rountree Jr. And this one's going to be a fucking banger, man. Like, I really don't know what to do here. My heart says Khalil Rountree. Like, I think everyone feels that way, especially when you factor in the losses that Jamahal Hill's had against Pereira, against Prohatska, but and I mean, look, if you look at the interviews that they've been having, Jamahal Hill just seems so not confident. He seems like a shell of himself, whereas Khalil Rountree is like oozing confidence. He's just like, yeah, I'm any way I want, I'm gonna fucking destroy this guy. We all know that Khalil Rountree is super vicious. He has those stomping side kicks, vicious Muay Thai leg kicks, and we all know that Jamahal Hill has that bad leg injury that, you know, maybe played a factor in some of the last fights that he's had as well. So for all those reasons, you would think Khalil Rountree is going to win, but something just tells me I almost have this same... After what happened last week with Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley, where Buckley was the one sort of, you know, with all the confidence the whole time, oozing, and then Kamaru Usman was sort of like the silent guy, just, yeah, it's okay, say what you want, I know I've lost a few, I'm here, it's what it is. And then when he actually got in the ring, he had a real game plan to beat him. I have this weird suspicion that the same thing's going to happen here. Now, Jamahal Hill's striking is not very nice to look at, honestly. It's pretty ugly. He throws these hooks, leaving his whole head open, and, you know, I think that if you give Khalil Rountree those moments with the right timing, he can really make you pay for not keeping your guard up. But I also feel like Khalil Rountree does so much better when he's on his front foot, when he's able to sort of march at you and use his rhythm. If Jamahal Hill just puts pressure on him, pushes him up against the fence, uses his sort of size as the bigger guy to just crowd Khalil, how does that work for him, you know? It's a 5-round fight. I think Jamahal Hill has more experience in these 5-round fights, but there's an interesting thing where Jamahal beat Johnny Walker beat Khalil, but then at the same time, if you watch the Pereira fights that they both had, Khalil obviously did so much better against Pereira. Oh, man. I really don't know what to do here. I really don't know who to go for. I feel like if I jump on the bandwagon that everybody's saying like Khalil's going to win, and then we all just get fucking shown that, you know, that we had completely forgotten about the fact that this other guy has skills. But Jamahal Hill's not Kamaru Usman, so why do I feel that way? Ugh. I don't know. I really don't know here. Let's look at this for a second. Yeah, Khalil has so many more fucking KO wins. Jamahal Hill does land more strikes and absorb less. You know, has a much higher landing percentage. Their defense is about the same. Grappling is not going to matter. Like, no, these guys both have 0% takedown accuracy and average. There's not a takedown getting thrown in this fight. So, what are the odds? They have it pretty close. This is basically a pick'em. I mean, minus 150 against plus 130. This is a pick'em as far as the odds makers are concerned. But, oh man. If you think about the losses that Jamahal Hill has recently, they are against like very big, tall, strong guys that know how to use that range really well. Khalil knows how to like blast at you and create that forward movement that's going to make you get back. So I don't know if it's going to be so easy for Jamahal Hill to just put the pressure on him, but fuck, man. I think... God, the knee factor's fucking annoying, especially when you go and watch that Khalil Rountree like stomping kick where he takes that guy out. Like, I just feel like I'm gonna really regret picking Khalil. I have this weird feeling that Jamahal Hill's gonna win and humble Khalil a little bit because he feels very confident, and I usually love to see the confidence, but lately there's been this... Khalil Rountree would have learned a lot from the fight with Pereira, but he did also take a ton of damage in that fight. Jamahal Hill had a decent second round against Yuri. Who would win out of Yuri Prochazka versus Khalil Rountree? That's an interesting question. I think Yuri Prochazka would probably destroy Khalil Rountree. I'm going to go Jamahal Hill. I think Jamahal Hill is going to win. Fuck. But how does he win? Does he win by decision? Do I really think he's going to knock Khalil Rountree out? Yeah, I think Jamahal Hill's going to win this by decision. That's what I'm picking. I think Khalil Rountree's power is like really good in the first 2 rounds. He keeps it into the third, but if Jamahal Hill's able to use a lot of pressure, keep a big pace on, keep some type of tight defense going so that he doesn't take too many of Khalil's shots, if he has an answer for the leg kicks, if he's game planned that at all, then I think that he has the experience to beat a guy like Khalil. What the fuck? I don't know. It's like, fuck, man. Like, Jamahal Hill's best win is against Glover Teixeira, but that was like a completely finished version of Teixeira, the tail end of his career. Other than that, it's like, you landed that good punch against Johnny Walker. You've been injured. Fuck it. Jamahal Hill by decision. Let's go. All right, boys. This is the main card. This is going to be a fun one, especially like the co-main and the main event here. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Let me know what you think. I'm really interested to know what you think about this whole Jamahal Hill Khalil Rountree. Am I the only guy that's picking Jamahal Hill to win here? And do you think that Jamahal Hill actually has a chance? I literally made a short video the other day saying that Khalil Rountree was going to smash Jamahal Hill based on their Pereira fights, but for some reason I've just been thinking all day that Jamahal Hill, I don't think that we can take his meekness in these interviews as like a surefire sign that he's going to lose. And I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to lose to Pereira and Prochazka. And you can make an excuse for Jamahal Hill that the loss to Pereira was because of the weirdness to the cup. You know, without that, maybe he would have had a similar type of fight to Khalil, with Pereira that Khalil did. But when you factor in some of those head kicks of Rountree, like, is this really what I'm doing? Or am I really picking Jamahal Hill here? Yes, I am. Like, Khalil Rountree's had so many shit performances before. I know that he, went to Thailand and became more ready, and he's more playful and all that, and he's vicious and he's strong. Jamahal Hill does not want to lose, man. He really does not want to lose this fight. Like, if he loses this fight, he basically is done. Everybody is just going to count him out as, like, never having been that good anyway and only ever winning the title because of the fact that Glover was done, right? And maybe that is the case, but Khalil Rountree only got the Pereira fight. I don't even know why he got the Pereira fight. Obviously, it should have been Ankalaev, but I think that the UFC was just trying to continue building Pereira's record, give him more and more time to work on the grappling. So, but the problem is, like, Jamahal Hill's just never going to go for a takedown. He's never going to game plan here to, like, play to the fact that maybe he will. Maybe he's, like, learned, like, oh, I can't be this one-dimensional fighter. This is MMA. I'm going Jamahal Hill by decision. Let's go. See you, boys. Let me know what you think. Back.